The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our Trash Elite, a guy from Ohio, and Rob, Thomas Austin Jr., DG, Destrucity KTL, Drake Starstorm, Kitty Holbrook, and Passion Killer 711. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hello. Hello.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and today we are starting a new, what's the delicate way to put this, filler podcast, when we have no other ideas.
Today we're starting a new crime.
Yes.
We're committing theft.
Yes.
The content theft. Which is my favorite thing. If you've ever seen me DM, you will know that this is my favorite thing.
You haven't seen him DM, though.
No.
So,
Some of you have. Some of the people who listen to this podcast.
A very small amount of the percentage of people who listen. So AEW has their AEW Games YouTube channel. Don't mention better stuff on your stuff, but also the age-old DM advice of... Steel, yeah. They, at the end, after 5 episodes or so, they started doing a mailbag segment where viewers write in and ask them questions, and they answer them on the show. I am stealing those questions. I think they're good questions. I think they're interesting. We've done a bunch of survey stuff before, so this really isn't all that different. But it's funnier if we act like we're doing a crime. Big shout out to my good twin, Evil Uno, and of course... the saintliest person on the internet, Chugs.
We aren't twins, but he is better than me. So, really, it's the good podcast. And we are the evil podcast, and we are doing crime about it.
Yeah, this is really just...
it's all on theme, is what we're saying.
It's honestly Evil Uno's fault for allowing me to exist as his evil twin. He hasn't come down from Canada to kill me yet. Especially for all the mean things I've said about Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, this is on you.
Yeah, really.
So... what are the questions?
Well, these are slightly paraphrased, and I often retailor them to fit our show. I'm still going to credit the folks who asked, because that seems like the right thing to do.
It's important to be ethical while doing crime.
But before we get into that, we got to talk about what's crumping.
Well, what's crumping?
Well, let's start with you, because I've crumped more.
Well, that's because more happens with you. I'm going to be honest. Recently, I went and saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in theaters. That was fun. The one from the 90s.
Why did you go without me?
I thought it'd be funny to tell you now.
Tell me now, live on the podcast?
Yes.
I'm so hurt. Actually,
yeah, you like Ninja Turtles so much.
Yeah. Joke's on you, I went also.
Oh, you were just behind me?
Beside. I'm really surprised you didn't notice me.
I don't notice stuff.
I leaned over and tried to commiserate with you several times.
I was blocking out that person in the theater because I don't like talking to people in the theater.
That's valid. Anything else you've been up to?
Not really.
No. We went back to tabletop role-playing. Since the last time we did a live podcast, we have returned to our campaigns and our friends after me being sick for a couple of weeks. A month off from role-playing sucks.
Yeah, it's my favorite hobby, and not doing it is balls.
But I am feeling mostly better now, but if you hear a cough here and there, that's why. I started playing Metaphor ReFantasio. I think I'm about halfway through the game. I'm in the thick of the second major town in the tournament. I don't remember the name of it. Starts with a B, I'm pretty sure. It is fine. It's a fine game. I think that's basically all I've been up to as well, working on stuff otherwise. Finished Daredevil after all this time, the original Netflix series, not the new Marvel season. What a final season. It was a lot of prestige television and one really good episode at the end. But that's enough crumping, I think. We've crumped enough till we can't crump no more. We're just going to go through the questions in order, and we're going to go until we hit our time limit on our podcast. So,
and then if we have more questions, guess what? That means you get another episode.
Come next time, yeah. And the beautiful thing is they've been doing this for about a year, maybe a little over, having these questions. So they do multiple questions per episode. We're going to have content. This is content farming, baby.
It's good to be a thief.
Yeah, it is. All right. Question 1 comes from Rygar. I am going to assume the protagonist of the NES video game Rygar.
Okay.
Unless he had a different name. Whoever is named Rygar in Rygar, that 8-bit man is who I assume sent in this question. Which game have you been looking forward to adding to your collection?
Like this is insofar as we have collections.
I have a small one. You're not much of a collector of anything physical.
No, I don't do tchotchkes and other trinkets.
And that'll come up later in the questionnaire, but that's fine.
But I guess this is which game have I been looking forward to playing?
Sure, you can think of it that way.
I would really like to play, to get to playing a game that I started playing and kind of fell off of, not because it did anything wrong, just because my brain didn't want to play that game at the moment. But the Forsaken? Is that what it's called? Forspoken? The game that the with the flower face people.
Oh, Avowed.
Avowed, thank you. For some reason, I just couldn't come to me.
So you'd like to, in the spirit of this podcast, steal a game from my collection?
Yes.
Okay.
I started playing it. It was good. But my brain, it's just not time to play that type of game right now. And when it is again, I look forward to playing more of it.
I enjoyed my time with Avowed. Not the best game in the world. Story was a little bit lacking. It had a lot of CRPG design philosophy leftovers. But, man, the mechanics were really tight, especially in first-person mode. All right, that's a good answer, I think. I think, excuse me, I don't have much of a physical collection anymore. As much as it's a risky biscuit, for the obvious reasons that more people are realizing as time goes on, I don't collect a lot of physical games anymore. When I do, it's usually like a trophy or just a neat thing to have. I do like getting some retro cartridges just to, you know, be able to look at them and feel them and stuff. I don't know if there's anything specific, though. We used to get like the collector's editions, and we've still got an Alduin statue in there and, you know, other stuff like that. But
over the years, I just don't find fulfillment in those things.
right.
So, like, my favorite little keepsake from any of those we ever bought is I have a physical platinum chip from when we bought the collector's edition of Fallout New Vegas. And I use that to flip a coin when I can't decide stuff.
Yeah, add to my collection. Even in the sense of playing it. Like, I've got a wish list on Steam and on, you know, all of my platforms. And there's some stuff I'm excited to try. You know, actually, I'll say this. The Hironobu Sakaguchi game that they just released, Neo Fantasian, I think it's called. I'm looking forward to buying that. I'm looking forward to that being on sale. That guy designed some of the most influential games on me. Well, let me rephrase that. That guy designed some of the games that had the most influence on me. He didn't
design the game on
right. I was, first of all, a baby at the time.
That
and
makes
in America,
for a very poor operating system.
That's not very, I'm not that high tech. But it would be cool to own that, even if it's not a physical copy. We have another question from Rygar. Similar, related. What is the most valuable game in your collection?
I don't know that I own any physical games that have value in excess of, I guess, what I could get a trade-in at GameStop for.
I have some DS games I should probably get rid of. Game Boy Advance. Final Fantasy V Advance, even loose, is worth a decent amount of money. I have $50, I think. We used to have a very valuable thing, which was an Xbox 360 that had Scott Pilgrim installed on it. But it came back, so now that's not worth anything.
For a while. We could have turned that around for a fair amount of money.
Yeah. We've got some collector's editions of old games that are in decent shape. Alan Wake, of all things. A game neither of us have played much of.
I played the first 2 hours of that game and went, I don't like this gameplay, and then I turned it off.
Some of the, like the Alduin statue, that probably could fetch a nice price.
It's in decent shape.
Yeah. Dusty, but
But then those aren't the games. Like
No.
our old console copy of Skyrim. No, brother, they released that on like fridges.
And a better version at that. So I guess in terms of scarcity, that really bad Power Rangers beat 'em up, I have that. That's not available anymore.
So yeah, there you go. That's probably it. That's a sad answer, but it's the truth. We're not collectors.
No, not like that. I tried to be a collector, and it just didn't take. Which I say that about video games. No, I'm not a collector. About other tat, yes.
Oh yes, I'm looking at just a wall of tat right now. Just so many.
There's so many Ninja Turtles. I cannot believe you went to that film without me, you monster. Our next question comes from Andy, who asks, who are your favorite gaming internet content creators? I think it would be too wicked of me if I didn't once again shout out the AEW Games All Elite Arcade podcast featuring Evil Uno and Chugs. I do watch it pretty much every week. I don't skip any episodes, but we are stealing their mail. So if I didn't shout them out at least.
Yeah, this is the spot you've earned by being the people we are stealing from.
There you go. Do you have any you're willing to disclose, my friend?
Yeah, there's, I mean, it's not like it's super niche stuff. I watch a little Let's Game It Out. He's always fun. I watch some Rust YouTubers. I don't play the game Rust. I want to make that super clear. It looks miserable, but I really like watching other people play the game Rust. Wellen is my favorite of those, I feel. Other content creators I've sort of dipped in and out of as the years have gone by.
Yeah.
Russian Badger, I think, is probably the biggest all-rounder who doesn't do like one specific thing.
I end up drifting in and out of my Let's Play content. I do like to watch some long-form video essays every now and then about video games. And one of the podcasts, two, counting the AEW Games one, that I listen to is about video games. But, like, calling them video game content creators seems a bit of a misnomer. I think the longest lasting has been Game Grumps, but I really don't watch much of their stuff anymore. I was just recently able to start watching Pro Jared again. He's been doing shit I don't care about. Same for Beard Bros. Just doing stuff I don't care about. And for me, I have to give a crap about the game at least like a little bit. I have to not give a crap about the game.
Whereas for me, that's almost helpful.
Well, yeah, it can go too far. If I'm like looking forward to playing and I'm not watching you play it, I'm going to play it. So it's a complicated world, me digesting media. It's almost as not fun for me as it is for you to listen to my terrible opinions. Donna writes in and says, what was your first video game crush? Be honest, heart emoji.
That's I don't know.
It's pretty far back to think of the first. I remember having, when I was age appropriate for this, I had a thing for Realm from Final Fantasy VI, but I don't know if that was the first one because, you know, I grew up with the Nintendo. But I also grew up with the Nintendo. So, like, I wasn't in crushing age until, you know, I was about 10 at the time. So, that might have been the first one now that I'm thinking of it.
It's either Lara Croft or it's Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Oh, yeah, good answer. Mine also might have... No, I definitely played Chrono Trigger after Final Fantasy VI, so it wasn't Marl. She came slightly later. Yeah, that's a good question, an interesting question. Thank you. We next have a question from Eric, not me. I could have written into them and asked a question, but I don't have anything I want to ask. Speaking of which, if you guys actually want to ask us questions, by all means, let us know in the comments. I'll add them to the list. Not all of the mail has to be stolen. In fact, if we could have our own mail, golly, that's the dream. Anyway, Eric asks, what Steam games would you recommend for someone who's only played Stardew Valley?
Well, Animal Crossing's not on Steam, so that's right out.
Yeah, that's a trick.
Harvest Moon game's on Steam?
I think so. Although the stuff that's titled Harvest Moon isn't Harvest Moon. You want, I think it's called like Friends of Mineral Town, Friends of such and such town. There was a rights issue, so they retain the visual aesthetic of Harvest Moon and the name, but the actual game designers who made good games did their own different thing. But that's a good recommendation, I think. There's a lot of similar games. Fields of Mystria is a fairly new one. I don't know if it's fully out yet, but it's definitely got that Stardew Valley vibe. I'm trying to think of something else that's got a vibe around the same thing. Power Washer Simulator. It's not like farming or anything, but it's definitely chill. And
if you're looking for like just sort of peaceful, cozy creation engine stuff, it's
not on Steam, but it's on PC. You got Minecraft. Actually, Minecraft might be on Steam now.
Hey, I'm gonna go with Minecraft regardless. That's, trust me, it can suck you in.
Kirby can also suck you in.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of game, though.
I also don't think it's on Steam. Thanks for the question, Eric. Now we move on to Mike, who mailed us a question specifically, but it got sent to Evil Uno and Chugs accidentally. What are some games you love playing that people don't talk about anymore?
Knights of the Old Republic 2, most recently.
Yeah,
I was replaying it not a month ago, and it's really fun and good, and people stopped talking about it many years ago, and that makes me sad, because it is the better of those two games, and probably the best Star Wars game that has been made.
I feel like a lot of the games, the BioWare, zone, were really good, and then they went into MMOs. Bethesda did the same thing too, and those MMOs were really mid. I would love a new KOTOR game. Those are pretty good. That I still play though. That's a tough one for me. Because like the stuff I do go back and replay a lot is like Mega Man. And people ask Capcom desperately to give them more Mega Man. I'm still playing Marvel Snap. It is the card game that I am allowed to play. I don't hear a lot of buzz about it anymore outside of its specific community. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. I do a lot of old school gaming, but like a lot of the older stuff I play is pretty popular. Yeah. That's a thinker. If I come up with anything later on, I'll shout, and we'll go back to this question.
Okay.
This is a similar question from John. What is your go-to nostalgic console, and what is a game you play on it that might be overlooked?
I don't know that I have a go-to nostalgic console in the first place.
Ironically, I think you do, but I believe it's the PC.
Yeah, probably, and that feels cheating.
Sure.
Because that's also the best current console, and the best future console. Always will be the best console. And that feels like my favorite superhero is the strongest one, and just, I don't know, it feels like cheating.
What if they come out with PC2 after all this time?
No.
No? You're gonna stick with PC? I think in that sense.
You know what? If they come up with PC2, then my answer becomes the PC.
Is there an old PC game that, like, you still kind of dig?
Like, actually playing? Aside from the one I literally just mentioned, there's a few. I occasionally will go back and try and play the old Fallout games again. They don't work super well anymore, and they don't like being played. They resent being played.
Fallout 2 specifically dislikes being streamed.
But
Do not make a record of me, says Fallout 2 with an angry face.
And then there's the one I literally just mentioned, but you?
I mean, especially with nostalgia, it's NES and Super Nintendo. I don't actually go back to those consoles a lot because the ones I have access to are not in the greatest shape, and I need to sit down and clean them. But I will go through various kinds of emulation, whether that be perfectly legitimate yo-ho means, or like the Nintendo Switch Online retro collection. My girlfriend and I have been playing through the Mario franchise. We actually just this summer replayed Super Mario 3, which is her favorite game, I believe, and finally beat Super Mario 1 together. I beat it on my own back in probably the late 80s or early 90s. I can't remember which one. Mega Man, of course, I rebeat all the NES Mega Man games like a month or so ago. Sometimes I'll go back and replay Final Fantasy. Like, sometimes I check out stuff I've never played before. I really think, and I hate how this makes me sound, I resent how this makes me sound, but there was a certain je ne sais quoi to games from that era that until maybe the last 10 years, people really haven't put a lot of effort into tapping. We were pushing the bleeding edge for so long that a retro style gaming that are still new games just didn't feel respected for what they were capable of, and the kinds of things you could do with a minimalist aesthetic. I was actually just listening to a video from that opera guy who listens to video game music.
Oh yeah, I've seen. There's like 9 of those guys, but I think
this is the beard one with the square head. His name might be Mario.
I think I know who you're talking about.
For the sake of the listener, and he finally sat down and listened to some classic Mega Man music, and he himself mentioned, I'm talking such a big game about listening to video game music, but it's all orchestral stuff from the modern era. I'm kind of hard on chip tunes, and he sat down and actually listened to mostly newer Mega Man stuff, which is it's dumb, but he did listen to a couple classic pieces and was like, yeah, it's actually really incredible when these musicians can come up with something that sounds good using such limited hardware. And like, that's kind of the philosophy I love about retro gaming in general, about the games that we had in the NES and Super Nintendo era, is you had to be the country girl. You had to do your best with what you had, and sometimes it wasn't good enough, but like the ambition and the attempt, the moxie.
It's impressive, the accomplishment through adversity.
Yes, I would agree with that. Okay, here's a more fun one from G-Dog. If you had to pick any video game universe to become a character in, what game and why?
That's really quite difficult.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, because there's a bunch of different answers that make sense, that would be fun, but if I have to live in that universe, it's probably a universe from a game I don't like very much, because like I don't want to be a character in the Doom universe. That sucks. Like Star Trek has video games, and Star Trek civilians are fine until they, get turned into space dust or whatever.
That's an interesting observation, because I think a lot of people answer that question from the perspective of which video game do you want to be the protagonist of?
Well, like, if the question is which video game protagonist do I want to be, there's so many cool guys that you could decide to be. But if I just have to live in that world, I want to pick the post-scarcity utopia, thanks.
So like Star Trek Online?
Sure, yeah. I'm going to go get an apartment on Earth and run a restaurant that I just run for fun, that isn't for profit because money doesn't exist. I'm just going to chill because I'm not that guy.
One of my favorite things about Star Trek is that money doesn't exist in most places, except where a Ferengi can get to.
Yeah, I like that too.
Some capitalism finds a way. Man, what? Like, okay, the lame answer is just to echo your sentiments, but
if I had to pick a setting with like problems, with like conflict that I have to be a part of, I would pick a setting with like magic. Like the good magic that doesn't terrible and turn you into a monster or whatever. I'd probably pick something like the Elder Scrolls.
honestly, that was the answer I was about to say as well. Specifically Morrowind, so that if you kill me, I ruin your game. I'm Quest Essential somewhere along the line.
You broke the thread of fate, never are.
That's what I want. But like also Morrowind, because I do really like the weird aesthetic of that game. It really captured me when I was younger.
I love, because if I'm existing in the game world, presumably I'm existing in the world, as it exists, that the games are trying to emulate, not there are 7 people who live in Windhelm. So I get to be in the lore accurate Elder Scrolls, which is just a bonkers universe. But yeah, that's if I have to be somewhere that has like conflict, that is like an adventure. If I'm going on an adventure, that sounds great.
Even if I'm not, I think Morrowind's pretty chill. Like, the worst thing that I would have to deal with is cliff racers, and I have to get away from town for that.
Plumbing.
Well, I'll get a wizard. I'll go to the Mages Guild and get rid of my shit, the spell, and just that we're good.
That
we're all
spell
set.
definitely exists.
Yeah, that has to exist. Here's a good one, and I think this is going to be our last question for the show today. This one comes from Elias. What are 3 games you wish you could experience again for the first time?
Ooh.
I like 3 because I have an easy answer for 1. That's always my answer. I'm going to have to think about the other 2.
Well, give us your first one.
Watch Dogs 2. I didn't play the first one. I didn't care to after my compatriot here played it and said it was stupid. But this one was recommended pretty highly from Total Biscuit of all people. Those of you internet old heads who remember good people long gone. And when I finally sat down to play it, it was one of the most enjoyable, relaxing games. I love that it was a Grand Theft Auto that let me essentially do a no-kill run, which I might have killed a couple of guys, but like mostly I just used my hacky sack on a bungee cord and my robots, and I hacked for good reasons. And right out the gate, they give you a couple of quests that let you do stuff that I've wanted to do in video games for so long. Like when you pass homeless people, just give them an absurd amount of money because it doesn't matter. And just fight the good fight. And had great NPCs and a fun story. And they immediately did not follow up on it with Watch Dogs Legion. So it exists in its own little microcosm of glory. And I'm bad at replaying games, so it's not something I could revisit without Agent K and Agent J coming by.
Absolutely the right answer. Something I definitely probably would say myself, but I want to try and come up with 3 different ones to the ones you pick. Mm-hmm. In that way, Red Dead Redemption 2. It was life-changing.
Yeah.
I was a different person after that game. I want to have that again. I would love, because I can't go back. I would love to be able to go through it again.
The only thing that I would not like about that is a fresh volley with renewed vigor of Arthur Morgan and Duchess Vanderlinde being inserted into every role-playing game we play, every TTRPG.
They're NPCs a lot because they're good NPCs.
They are, but you have cooled down reasonably on them, and I would not be losing my memory of you. You would only be losing your memory of. So I would be like, I would be CJ. Here we go again. The other answers is kind of difficult. Like I guess I could say something like Dark Souls 3. In fact, that might be.
I think that's fair.
That might be the answer there. Not Elden Ring, because ultimately, even Shadow of the Erd Tree, I've kind of changed my mind on after more recent experiences. Not that they're bad games, just that they're not what I want out of that genre. And that Dark Souls 3, I would love for that to be fresh again. I don't even need to erase it. Just take me back a couple of plays. And
You should put some juice back in
give me some of the juice back, because I would love to run through that again, but I don't have the patience to suffer through the older mechanics. You don't think they feel different until you pick it up, and they fucking do.
That shit is real.
It feels a little cheap for me because, like, I don't know, there are more transformative games. Hell, Dark Souls 1 was more transformative for me. But
it's about what you really want to have the taste fresh in your mouth.
yeah,
again.
I'd like to be able to replay Dark Souls 3 a couple more times without it feeling like a pain in the ass.
Fallout New Vegas.
Sure, New Vegas. Actually, you know what? I'm going to steal that for my third one because I've never finished it, but I got far enough that I don't know that I could.
And it has the same problem of once you go, you can't go back.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have the muscle memory from the later games in that series, later games by that developer house in my brain, and I didn't know the story inside and out, I could just wander the Mojave again.
That would be pretty righteous, my dude. Is that 3 for you?
That's 2 for me.
2 for you, because I stole your third one. So go ahead and give us your third one.
You yoinked it right out of my hands.
It's really good. It was a good choice.
I was hoping to have his talk.
I'll speak a little bit more about Fallout New Vegas. I liked Fallout 4 a lot. It's probably been my favorite Fallout game. I haven't had much success in replaying that either, but that's okay. And even, I would also say maybe an Animal Crossing, because I do miss playing it. The most recent one, I spent years, especially through the pandemic, playing that on my Switch. I haven't really picked it up in a couple of years, but I know when the next one drops, I'll be ready again, so I don't need to erase it.
And because he did a thievery, I'm going to do a thievery. That's the theme of this podcast. I'm also going to say Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
It's the best Grand Theft Auto game.
It is.
And it's not close. And I want to be able to do it again without having to do it again.
Even if Grand Theft Auto 5, 6, whatever the new one is.
6 is the next one.
The next one. So even if Grand Theft Auto 5 is like got a really compelling story, I don't care because I get so tired of the dick jokes. I couldn't get into Yakuza because it switches from prestige TV style gritty crime drama to Welcome to Wiener Hut, where we weepee your pee-pee. And I shut the fuck up forever. I don't mind a crass joke, but I get so tired of seeing them everywhere. It's... I'm calm.
Watch Dogs 2 was a genuine narrative. Grand Theft Auto is a satire series.
Yes, that's, what a beautiful way to put it. Watch Dogs 2 is genuine. It is a genuine narrative. It has genuine characters with genuine desires. They're very relatable. And yeah, it was transformative. So we have hit the end of this podcast. Let us know what you guys thought about this one. What do you think so far, my robot companion?
I love theft.